Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to another video of mine. So today we are going to be doing a dragon tutorial, more like a serpent kind of thing, kind of Chinese dragon, I guess I would say. So we're going to basically make something like this, maybe a little bit smaller, just so it doesn't take as long. You guys requested this, so let's go ahead and get it done. Alright, so you're going to need, you don't need voxel or necessarily world edit. You can do it all by hand. I'm going to use a little bit of world edit just to change the blocks faster. Alright, so let's get to it. Let's go ahead and get some stone. And let's go up here really quick. Actually, let's just do this. Stand up here. Up. Oops. One. Okay. So yeah. Let's go ahead and get a line going wherever we want the body to go. So make an outline for where we want the body, how much we want it to curve. I'm going to make this one curve up and down, left and right, you know, all the fun stuff. So that one, I know I made it curve a bunch. So yeah, it curves up and down, left and right. So I'm going to do almost the same thing with this one, except it's going to go more of like a knot, if that makes any sense. It's going to be more circular. So if you guys don't like my voice now, I got a new mic, so if you couldn't tell. If you don't like how my voice sounds now, then I guess you don't like my voice. So fair enough. Alright, let's do it. I think that's big enough, yeah? Long enough. Alright, so which side should we make the tail? Let's make that side the tail, this side the head. Just feels about right. Alright, so now we have one line for how we want the body to look. Let's make another one. Let's see how big we want the body. You just kind of build it down a little bit. That's about how wide I want it. And then you're just going to follow that path almost exactly. Oops. So it doesn't need to be too precise. I'm just going to get it generally good because you're going to mold with it a lot by hand anyway. Here it come. So with more precise organics like humans and stuff, these lines need to be a lot more precise, if that makes any sense. Because if they're not, then it won't look good. I may go over that later, though. There are people who are better than me at humans. I'm not the greatest at that kind of organics, so we'll see if I do a video on that or not. So yeah, just keep following this line. Oops, too high there. And so you have a body, and once you get closer to the end, you can start getting a little bit thinner, a little closer to the top, so that the body gets smaller. Oops, there's that. So yeah. Alright, oops. Like I said, it doesn't need to be 100% perfect, it just needs to be right. Okay, so basically I use the same technique for this as I do with big branches for trees if I make them by hand. So, obviously, there's that. Alright, now we're going to make two more lines and then we're going to fill it in. So, it's basically going to be a circle here, so we can make it. So we're going to we're going to follow the same line, except now we're going to go on the right side of it. Alright, and then once we have these two lines, we can start to fill it in. So this is probably going to be a pretty long video. I'm not going to cut out too much, just because for the sake of, I know these are rare videos. There's not too many tutorials on how to make a Chinese dragon, I would assume. I haven't actually checked, but I know this isn't like a popular thing to make. But someone requested it, so I'm making it for them. If you don't want to watch the whole video, you can easily just skip through. I think I'll put some links or some times in the description of when I'm doing what part of the dragon. So if you just want to skip forward to like with it all filled in and me coloring it or something, or the step where I'm making the head or something, then you can just skip forward to that. So yeah, there we go. I have another one. Probably looks a little bit thick over there, so I'm going to make this left one a lot skinnier over here. So I'm going to make it closer to these two. So basically the same thing applies to like any organic as it would for a tree, or you just got to have a general understanding of how these things look. So I mean, I'm not using a reference picture just because I don't like doing that, but I would definitely recommend doing that if this is your first time making something like this, even a tree too. Definitely use a reference picture pretty much for any organic if it's the first time you're doing it, until you get decently like good at it. Then you can start just going off of like imagination and whatnot. Especially for like heads and hands, I know those are really difficult sometimes. Those can be like the hardest part of organics. At least they are for me. So I'm guessing they're generally the hardest part. So yeah, definitely use a reference picture if you have the option. Alright, so now we have all these lines, we can start going in and filling it in. So let's just go for it. And this part, it's pretty tedious. It's pretty easy to fill it in. You just gotta go around and do exactly what I'm doing here now. It's not a hard part. If you want to keep the curves as much as possible, try to fill it in on the top part of the curve or the outside of the curve, if that makes any sense. So like you fill it in most over here and less over in this part, so that it keeps more of its curve. I'll try to demonstrate what I mean by that if you don't understand when I get to it. So, alright, so here I'm going to fill it in more inward here. So I'm not going to go out over here. I'm going to get rid of that, and then I'm going to go in instead. And then later, if it doesn't look that great, I'll add more to it over here. So, yeah. Sorry if you're hearing my fan at all on my computer. I know this mic picks up a lot more than my other mic did. So, alright. We're getting it pretty good here. It's the same concept as the trees, branches, and stuff. You don't want stair steps or patterns too much. It's okay to have a few, but you don't want too many, otherwise it starts looking just like this pattern, like sphere thing, or cylinder, I guess this would be. So you definitely want to try to avoid patterns. If you have a couple, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You probably won't even notice it once you get to like the coloring and stuff. I like coloring. I think coloring the dragon is probably the most fun part. It's funny because I hate coloring in real life. I hate coloring on paper and stuff. But I love coloring in Minecraft. Alright. So yeah, this part does take a little while, obviously. I'm trying to go by quickly here, and we'll see how quick this goes. But yeah, this part you gotta fill in all 4 parts, all 4 sides, I guess. I know it's a circle. So basically, once you've filled it all in, I'm not gonna skip, but I'll put a link, or I'll put in the description what time you could skip to if you don't want to see all this. You just want to see it when it's filled in. Once I'm done filling it in, I'll start fixing it. So it's not going to be like a ton to fix, but I'm just going to go back and smooth things out and like make them look a little more organic, and try to get rid of any patterns I may have accidentally missed or something like that. So yeah, so here's like an outside of a inside of the curve. See, I went inward there. I don't want to put too much. I might add like that. And then the outside of the curve here, over here, I'm going to add it more out here, so it gets more of a natural curve look. If you're following this tutorial exactly, it's probably not a good idea to follow it exactly, because organics are really hard to do that with, first of all, and it's pretty obvious when you try to do that. Just do it your own way. There's no real way to like do this like 100% legit. Like, everybody has different ways of doing these, and this is my way, I guess. So let me finish doing this over here. Yeah. So normally I would just do I just kind of go randomly. I fill in random parts and like random order. As you can see, I just kind of like skipped over there instead of finishing this part. I wouldn't recommend doing that if it's the first time. I would just recommend like filling in just this one side, and then just the other side, and then just the bottom, and then just, yeah, etc. Makes it easier. It makes you understand like what needs to be done if you messed up or something. So definitely one thing I'm going to go back and fix is the tail. The tail I'll probably make a little bit longer, at least for this like skinny part of the tail. Alright, so yeah, we got it going pretty good. Let's go back to the front here, maybe fill in, let's go to the bottom part, fill in that a little bit. Alright, let's start with this part. So yeah, like I said, this part doesn't have to be perfect right away, it just needs to be a general thing. So if you want, you can go quicker than I am. I'm just trying to make it a little bit smoother right off the bat, just so I don't have to go back too much and smooth it out. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Alright. So yeah, if you guys, obviously, if you like these videos, feel free to like them, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. You know the drill by now if you've been watching YouTube for like a day. If you don't know the drill now on YouTube, you probably live in a cave, and I don't know how you're seeing this video. So yeah, just called everybody cave dwellers. So yeah, I will definitely put a download link, just like I did for my tree tutorials for this dragon, in case you want to see it in game. I'll say that at the end of the video as well. I might put this video into 2 parts just so it's easier, so it's not too lengthy. I'll probably do like this filling in part as one part, and then the rest is the next. If I decide to, we'll see how long it ends up being. If I do end up putting in 2 parts, I'll cut the video when I'm done with this smoothing out and stuff, and then I'll continue it again whenever we get to the smoothing, or not the smoothing, the coloring, sorry. So yeah, basically I'll cut it when I'm done with the body. So part 1 will just be the body, and then part 2 will be like the head and coloring and all that fun stuff. And yeah, the head is, like I said before, is probably one of the hardest parts. I don't really know much more to tell you guys on how to do this. It's pretty straightforward. Pretty much said everything I can. Trying to think of anything that I may have missed telling you guys. Alright, so once we get it looks all filled in, this looks kind of awkward right here. I'll fix that later though. It might just be because I haven't filled in this part yet, too. So yeah, don't worry about that. There you go. So don't worry about it looking too awkward right away. It might just be because you didn't fill in a part, or it might be because it's just not done yet. Like, once you get the whole thing, then look at it and see if any parts look awkward. Because I know right away some things might look weird. I learned this from doing trees. Like, I know, yeah, I learned everything from doing trees. When you start the tree, it looks like crap. Like, it just doesn't look like it's gonna turn out okay. And then you just keep doing it, and eventually it like ends up looking pretty awesome. And honestly, it just takes patience. Like, you just need to know that you got to keep working at it. It's not gonna like be perfect right from the start. It's gonna be a work in progress. Whip. Whip it, whip it, whip it good. Okay, so, see, like that part. See how like it was flat there for a second, and then I just smoothed it out a little bit. And then this tail looks a bit awkward over here. Let's fix that. And that's probably because I haven't filled in this part yet. Oops, let's do that. So yeah, this is definitely taking a long time. It definitely will give you an idea of how long this actually takes without me like cutting the video any. But I'm probably gonna put it in 2 parts. But either way, if you just add the 2 videos together, you can get a general idea of how long this stupid dragon takes. And let me tell you, organics are not a fast process. You can't like roll edit and copy and paste. Maybe for the head, that's about it. It's the only thing you can really roll edit, copy and paste. I mean, you can technically do this with voxel, but it ends up taking just as long because you end up having to smooth it out more and go back anyway with your hand just to make it look good. So let's see if I missed any parts here. So yeah, it's definitely not easy to do organics. I will say that flat out. Organics are not the easy part of Minecraft, at least the creative Minecraft. So if you want to get into organics, you're going to have to practice. That is just the reality of it. And that's pretty much the reality for any kind of building, to be honest. If you really want to get good at it, it takes practice. It's like anything in life, pretty much. If you really want to get good at it, you have to practice it. You have to do it over and over and over and over. You don't get good in a day just by doing it once. Especially when it comes to like this stuff. I used to not be good at this. I mean, all of the great builders weren't that great at one point. I mean, we all had to get to where we were going just by doing things and doing them over and over and over and over. Alright, now I can go. Let's change my speed here for a second just so we can look at the whole thing quickly. Make sure we didn't miss anything, like right here. Oops. Drop the stone there. So now we're going to go back and smooth things out and make them look a lot more organic. So yeah, this is the part that'll, so if you skip the video, you'll be here now. And we're going back and smoothing things out a little bit. Just making sure there's no like random holes that I missed, like that one. And, oops, crashed. Okay, so now we're gonna go back. I think this part looks a little bit too low there. So I'm gonna go back, smooth it out a little bit, give it a little more curve. Fill it in. So yeah, if a part looks like it's coming out too much or like bulging too much, like it gets too skinny at one point and then it gets fat again, kind of like how it's skinny right there and fat right here, I'm gonna go over this and maybe try to make it look a little more thin. Oops. And there we go. So maybe smooth this part out, give it a little more curve over here. Oops, there we go. And definitely want to make this go down a little bit more here. So yeah, there we go. See, now it's a little skinnier looking. This part looks a little fat up here just because it's flat on the top. Yeah, you don't want too much flatness on the top either because that ends up making it look fat. Easy way to fix that is just to add a little more to the top there. And smooth it or thin it out just a little bit on the sides. Alright, so once we've gotten it pretty smooth out, I mean, you'll go back again and again and again anyway, probably trying to smooth out just parts you missed, because you won't see them all at first. That's for certain. You're gonna miss parts that obviously, like, you're not gonna see the whole thing every time. All right, so now we're gonna go back here. Wow, a lot of people just joined at once there. All right, so now let's go back and give this tail a little bit more curve here and make it a little longer. So I'm gonna make it go and do this. So this is the same concept for making a branch. You're just gonna do the curve and then you're just gonna go back and fill it in a little bit. It doesn't have to be, this is a lot easier than doing the whole body. You don't have to like make a line and then another line and then another line. Just gonna go back and fill it in a little bit and fill in. And then if it looks too skinny at one point, like right here, it looked a little skinny. So I'm gonna go back and fill that in a little bit more. Give it a little bit more here. Make it blend with the rest of the body here, so I don't want it to just look like it came off the body. It's just a limb or something. Yeah, so there you go. That looks pretty decent there. Might get rid of a little bit of that tail. Looks a little bit too long. Make it a little thicker over here so it blends better. Let's get rid of this part of the tail. I don't like this last part here. It's a little bit too long. Alright, so yeah, a rule of thumb also for building organics is that you can get rid of things. You don't have to make it perfect the first try. The first try is never going to work, especially if it's the first time you're doing it. Like, I know if it's the first time I'm doing this, if it was the first time I was doing this, I'd probably make it. It would look like crap, and then I'd have to get rid of the whole thing, do it the complete all over again. And that's completely fine. Like, you don't need to get it perfect the first try. It doesn't work that way. If you don't get it perfect the first try, it's okay. You can try again. That pretty much goes for any kind of building. People think that they only have one try, and it ends up not looking good on that first try, and then they're just afraid to get rid of it and try again because it took them so long. I did quotation marks here with my hand. Forgot you guys can't see me. So, all right. So now we have the body of the dragon. Looks pretty good to me. So now I'm gonna pause the video and make this, or I'm gonna stop the video, and then we're gonna start a part 2 for the head and pretty much the rest, the coloring and the hands. So yeah, all right. Make sure you guys comment, like, or subscribe. Thanks. See ya.